Despite what we like to joke about, Kingdom Hearts 4 is inevitable. It's only a matter of time before the next main installment in the series, and with over 20 years of lore across the video game, it can be hard to keep track of it all. That's why I have decided to take the responsibility of keeping you lovely people up with not only where our Guardians are in the series, but where they came from. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Kingdom Hearts character timeline, where today we focus on the tragic and beautiful background of the best girl, Aqua. If you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. We do a variety of gaming content with a lot of it including Kingdom Hearts. This ranges from story and lore related videos like this one to fun and difficult gameplay challenges and others. If you guys are interested, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any content on the channel, as well as like the video to spread it to a wider audience because yeah, that's how the algorithm works. As I stated before, I have recently decided to take upon the challenge to culminate the history of important characters in the Kingdom Hearts series in wake of the impending Kingdom Hearts 4. Last time we handled Riku, and today's project will be breaking down the entire life of Aqua. In case you didn't see that one though, here's a small layout breakdown. We will basically be taking the earliest known point in the series for said character and going from there all the way chronologically to the most recent known whereabouts. Since Kingdom Hearts doesn't have an official year or age system in place such as 2023 or 300 BC, each section will be divided into whatever game in the series we are currently discussing. With that said, I feel it's better to show not tell, so let's go ahead and start off in Birth by Sleep, the origin of Aqua's life. In Aqua's earliest known days, she was always in training to be what's known as a Keyblade Master, someone who wields one of the most powerful weapons of light in an attempt to defend it from the darkness. We have no current information on parentage or birth, but what we do know is that from the beginning there was always her best friend, Terra, who was also in training just as her. The two would train day and night to grow stronger with their Keyblades and prepare for their Mark of Mastery exam. One day while training, they are visited by an old man named Xehanort, a friend of their master Ericus and a fellow Keyblade Master. Accompanied with him was a young boy named Ventus, and letting the curiosity get the better of them, they go to greet the young Ven. After only a few questions, however, Ven holds his head and falls to the floor, screaming in pain. The two friends ponder what went wrong while their master returns. He then explains that Ven is not able to answer them anything, as he cannot remember anything. Shortly after, Aqua awaits Ven in his room as he sleeps, worried if he will be okay. Once he finally wakes, she calls for Terra and Ericus, and so would start the training with a new friend. Sometime later, the three are training in the courtyard. Aqua watches as Terra teaches Ven the basics, likely getting him used to wielding a blade as Ven would not have much experience. She even gives encouragement on the sideline, showing her growing care for the young boy. Afterward, the three relax on the edge of the courtyard wall. Aqua reflects and acknowledges that all his damage to his practice sword is just proof that he's learning. The three then begin to bond on what brought them together, the dream to be a Keyblade Master. Another sometime later, Aqua finds Ven laying under the stars in wait of a meteor shower the three agreed to meet up for. After startling the boy awake, Aqua joins him on the edge, and the two ponder what's beyond the stars, and if there really is an abundance of other worlds out there waiting to be explored. They are interrupted by Terra, who explains more about the worlds and the stars, but also tells Ven that he will understand more when he's older. Watching the two argue about the topic, Aqua can't help but let out a laugh, exclaiming that her friends would make the weirdest brothers. The three then laugh together and sit to watch the meteor shower, as promised. After the light show, Aqua reveals in wake of her and Terra's Mark of Mastery exam the following day that she has made the three a set of good luck charms based on a tail of a star-shaped fruit that warrants an unbreakable connection. Because the correct materials based on the tail were not used, Ven wonders if the charms even work. Aqua explains that it's yet to be seen, but she did work her own little magic on the charms in her own unbreakable connection. The three then head in for the night to rest up for the test. Before leaving, Aqua takes one last look at the stars and says, "Together, always," as she joins her friends. Little would she know, this would be the last night that they would share those same stars for a very long time. The following day, the three meet up for the fated Mark of Mastery exam. Aqua and Terra stand before their master Ericus and Xehanort, who attended as a guest, while Ven sits on the sidelines as he wasn't taking the exam with them. He still had more to learn. As they receive their introduction, Ericus then spawns in floating orbs of light to battle against, so that their combat prowess may be observed. After doing so, the orbs seem to be corrupted by darkness a bit. However, Ericus decides to let the challenge fold out as he deemed it a worthy test of their ability to adapt and stay focused. After this first trial of their exam, it was time for the second, a one-on-one sparring match. The winner was not the concern, however, but more so the revelation of each other through the clash of equal power. The two have a very intense fight together, and once everything is said and done, they stand before their masters for the final decision. Much to Aqua's delight, through her demonstration she was deemed to show the Mark of Mastery and was granted the title of Keyblade Master. However, due to Terra failing to keep the darkness in his heart in check during their fight, he was unfortunately not granted that same title. Aqua was then instructed to wait for further instruction, as with the new title she was granted access to certain knowledge she must be aware of. Aqua tries to console her best friend for his failure, however he stresses that he needs some time alone, and so Aqua waits for Ericus as instructed. However, when he returned to her, before they can get started they are interrupted by a bell signaling a message from Master Ericus. Terra runs in to join them at the alarm, and as Ericus returns he explains of a message from a friend and former Keyblade master Yen Sid. Yen Sid explains that the Princesses of Heart, ladies who were born with a heart of pure light, are currently in danger of a new threat, not from darkness but from the forces of negativity. These are fledgling emotions that have taken monster forms and have been dubbed as unversed. He also explains that Master Xehanort has disappeared and has not been responding to his attempts to reach him. With this, Master Ericus deems it as their jobs as Keyblade wielders to keep these forces in balance, and tasks Terra and Master Aqua with defeating the unversed and finding Master Xehanort. So he opens the lanes between, allowing travel to other worlds, and leaves them with one last message to keep order, for the outside world must not know the existence of others. He also leaves this as another chance for Terra to prove himself, as he explains he cares for Terra like his own son and only wants the best for him, but cannot just give him a title that must be earned. With that, the two set off, but just as Aqua turns, Ericus beckons for her to stay. Ericus privately tells Aqua that he meant what he said to Terra, however he feels the darkness she showed runs very deep in him. He asks Aqua that should Terra succumb to his darkness, she return him immediately, as Ericus does not want any of them to fall to darkness. Aqua promises so, exclaiming that Terra will surely show he is worthy and he is not as weak as Ericus thinks. Much to Aqua's surprise, however, when she gets outside to leave herself, she finds Vin racing after Terra into the outside world. Vin not being deemed ready to venture out yet, Ericus beckons for Aqua to find him and bring him home. Aqua then dons her Keyblade armor and glider for the journey and ventures off into the outside world for the very first time. The first world Aqua arrives in is Castle of Dreams. Almost immediately she runs into Terra and she tells him about Vin and asks if Terra has seen him. Terra says that he hasn't, but admits that Vin did try to tell him something before he left and wishes he had waited to hear what Vin had to say. Aqua also asks if Terra found Master Xehanort, to which he also admits he has not. However, he has found out that Master Xehanort is looking for hearts pure of light, and all he can tell is that Xehanort's search has not led him here. Terra then tells Aqua that the prince is in the ballroom ahead should she have any more questions. Before she can leave though, Terra asks if Aqua still has the same dream. When she says she does, Terra informs her that there is a girl here named Cinderella who taught him that no matter what, a powerful enough dream is able to shine through any darkness. Terra asks Aqua to give Cinderella his thanks should she run into her, and turns to leave the world. Aqua then smiles to herself, thinking of that conversation with Ericus. She is confident her friend would not give into the darkness. When going to meet the prince, Aqua passes by an old lady and her two daughters. As she does, she gets a sense of negativity and asks the prince's servant about them. She's told her name is Lady Tremaine, and after hearing about the prince looking for a girl who dropped a glass slipper, Aqua decides to pay Lady Tremaine a visit. Once Aqua reaches the house, she confirms indeed that as she feared there is darkness here. When she goes to enter the home, she is stopped by Fairy Godmother, a lady who appears to those who believe that dreams come true. Aqua feels honored but is concerned about the Godmother's hesitation to fight the darkness with light. Fairy Godmother explains that strong rays of light are what create the shadows of darkness. She explains that Cinderella, who was the stepdaughter of Lady Tremaine, had such light and beauty that she cast the darkness of jealousy in the hearts of her stepmother and sisters. Aqua wonders what to do, but Fairy Godmother explains that Cinderella has a friend named Jack who is fighting to keep her light from fading. She then helps Aqua into the home to go join Jack and protect Cinderella. As Aqua enters the home, she finds herself as small as a rat, and notices an actual rat carrying a key. She finds out this is Jack and summons her Keyblade to prepare to help him, and Jack comments that the key is like Vin's. Aqua does ask if Jack knows where Vin is if he met him, but Jack explains that Vin left to look for another friend. Aqua understands he was looking for Terra, but just missed him. It's at this that the two hear the stepdaughters trying the glass slipper on, and Jack is in panic to free Cinderella so that she can try that slipper on. As he rushes, the unversed spawn and Aqua goes to fight them off so Jack can continue on. Aqua then leaves Jack to free Cinderella and watches over the prince's servant and the ladies. Once he is about to leave but Cinderella is nowhere to be seen, Aqua begins to panic. At this, Aqua returns to full size and catches the attention of the four of them. She then uses this as an opportunity to stall and asks to try on the slipper herself. Lady Tremaine has some hesitation, but the servant persists. Luckily, they stalled enough time and Cinderella appears at the top of the stairs. Lady Tremaine again tries to stop this, but the servant is persistent. Aqua beckons to try Cinderella first and helps her into the chair. Cinderella thanks her, and Aqua says that she's the one who needs to thank her for inspiring Terra to keep believing. Lady Tremaine then trips the servant, causing the glass slipper to drop and shatter. However, Cinderella reveals that she has the other slipper and tries it on, revealing a perfect fit. The two then leave to go meet the prince, but are stopped by a monster come to life. Hearing the screams, Aqua goes to investigate and protect Cinderella. The creature was revealed to be spawned from the darkness in Lady Tremaine and the daughters' hearts. However, shortly after they are unalived by their own creation, Aqua goes to defeat the entity. After the monster is defeated, Cinderella is joined with her prince. Aqua watches over, and as she is joined by Fairy Godmother, she wonders how the darkness shall be destroyed if not with light. Fairy Godmother explains that Aqua is too young to know, but to trust in her heart and follow her dreams, and she will one day find that answer. After leaving the world, Aqua finds herself next in a new one called Dwarf Woodlands. When she arrives, she finds 7 dwarves lying around a girl known as Snow White. Aqua, in concern what happened, is told that the evil queen, being jealous of Snow White, poisoned her. Aqua wonders what can be done to help. The dwarves explain that someone needs to go to the castle, the evil queen's witch lair. It's too crowded with magic and monsters, however, which is why the dwarves refuse, but Aqua of course offers herself and journeys to the castle. When she reaches the courtyard, she meets a prince who is actually looking for Snow White. Aqua informs him of the terrible situation, and the prince runs off to see his love, leaving Aqua to continue on. When Aqua reaches the lair of the queen, she immediately notices something is not right in the empty room. When she investigates a mirror, a face appears when a blinding flash pulls her into the mirror, where she fights off this face to escape the mirror. The mirror explains the queen is gone and his service is done before disappearing, and Aqua stares into the mirror, likely wondering, like us players, what the heck is even going on. She then returns to Snow White, and after the prince in mourning lays a final kiss on the princess, Snow White's eyes flutter open, revealing that she is okay. Listen, it doesn't make any sense, I don't get it either, but this is a KH video, not a Disney movie lore analysis.
Which one you got? That one? Okay, we're done.
Before leaving, however, Aqua does note that every waking has a new journey, and that maybe Vin left because he felt he was ready. Aqua then ventures to her next world, Enchanted Dominion. When she arrives, she notices a light flash by from a dark castle and decides to investigate. She comes to run into Vin, discussing with a dark witch known as Maleficent about Terra hurting the princess. Vin is in denial while the witch persists on Terra's wrongdoing. Aqua then shouts to Vin to not be fooled and says that he knows as well as her that Terra would never do that. Maleficent exclaims that the truth is cruel even amongst close friends, and that no one ever knows the secrets of another's heart. Aqua then tries to convince Vin to come home, but Vin denies so and runs off after saying that he must save Terra before it's too late. Before she can chase after him, Maleficent stops Aqua, commenting that she notices that Aqua can also wield the Keyblade. In shock of Maleficent's knowledge of the Keyblade, Aqua questions her, and Aqua is then shocked at Maleficent's knowledge of the Keyblade, realizing that she witnessed it firsthand from Terra. Shocked that Terra could have actually done what she accuses, Aqua is offered to help Maleficent as well. But Aqua of course denies it, and Maleficent comments that Xehanort was right. She is a most stubborn girl. Aqua is overwhelmed at the knowledge that this witch possesses and begins to question her more, but is cast into a dungeon by Maleficent before she can get more answers. When she gets down there, she finds a man trapped as well, who states that he was to save the princess but was trapped here instead. They are joined by 3 witches to break them out, and the witches comment that if what the man says is true, he must be the Prince Philip that they know of, and beckon him to come with them and save the princess. Aqua then comments that she's coming too, as she must get the answers that she needs from Maleficent. The 2 then fight their way through the castle to escape, and finally make it to the princess's castle to save her. They are then intercepted by Maleficent, and Aqua takes the chance to question her about Xehanort. Maleficent only ignores her and just comments that Aqua lacks the obedience that Terra has. Aqua again denies the accusation that Terra helped, but Maleficent insists that Terra fully embrace the darkness in his heart. Aqua shouts for her to stop lying before Maleficent turns into a dragon, which Aqua and the prince team up to defeat. After the battle, Maleficent is returned to her true form in a weak state, and the prince moves on to save the princess while Aqua goes to confront Maleficent. Aqua exclaims that Maleficent is too crowded by darkness to see that there is something greater, and tells Maleficent that to try all she wants, but she will never defeat a heart full of light. Maleficent then shouts to remember, as long as there is light, there will be darkness, and in time it will all belong to her before disappearing in flame. Aqua then looks to the sky in doubt, praying and demanding that Terra stay strong for her. Journeying on in the lanes between, Aqua finds Terra flying off, and she follows him to a world known as Radiant Garden. When she arrives, she asks a resident of the world if he has seen a boy who doesn't look from around here. The man, or technically the duck, offers help with delight and says that he thinks he saw him run into the castle in a hurry. Aqua thanks him and moves there. When she arrives, she finds the unversed chasing a young red-headed girl in front of the castle doors. The girl runs to Aqua's side, and Aqua explains that she can feel a strong light from the girl. She then prepares to fight off the monsters and protect her. Worried that she can't fight and protect the girl, a mouse known as Mickey joins them, wielding his very own Keyblade. Aqua wants to question him, but Mickey explains that he will tell her later, but they must first stop the unversed. So Aqua carries Kairi to safety and returns to help Mickey fight. After the fight, Aqua introduces herself as Ericus Apprentice. Something small I would really like to note here is that Aqua doesn't introduce herself as a master that she very much is at this time, really showing her modesty and desire to just be a wielder and not a leader over people. Mickey explains that he is Yensid's former apprentice and came back for some additional training. They then confer about why the Unversed attacked the girl, both confirming the light that they sensed in her. They deem that the girl has a strong light and is someone to protect. Mickey does offer to join forces, but at a flash of light he begins to disappear, but notes that he will be okay before he leaves and we'll see them soon. After this, the girl gives Aqua some flowers to thank her and introduces herself as Kairi. Aqua then goes to discuss that light with her before Kairi's grandmother shows up to get her, but before Kairi runs off, Aqua beckons her to wait a bit. Aqua then casts a spell on Kairi that, in a time of danger, will connect her light with that of another, someone to keep her safe. Aqua then sees her off, and just before they leave, she hears the grandmother tell a beautiful story about the light and darkness.
Hey, Grandma?
What is it?
Could you tell me that story?
Again, dear?
Please.
Very Very well then. Long ago, people lived in peace, bathed in the warmth of light. Everyone loved the light. Then, people began to fight over it. They wanted to keep it for themselves, and darkness was born in their hearts. The darkness spread, swallowing the light in many people's hearts. It covered everything, and the world disappeared. But small fragments of light survived in the hearts of children. With these fragments of light, children rebuilt the lost world. It's the world we live in now. But the true light sleeps deep within the darkness. That's why the worlds are still scattered, divided from each other. But someday, a door to the innermost darkness will open, and the true light will return. So listen, child. Even in the deepest darkness, there will always be a light to guide you. Believe in the light, and the darkness will never defeat you. Your heart will shine with its power and push the darkness away.
Afterwards, Aqua reflects and feels that she didn't run into Kairi by accident. She then notices a giant Unverse and chases after it, where she runs into Terra and Vin chasing after the same Unverse. The three then team up together to take the monster down. After the fight, Aqua again beckons that Vin needs to return home. Vin says it's okay because the boy in the mask is history and won't badmouth Terra again. Terra then grabs Vin, interrogating him about the boy in the mask, clearly showing that Terra has some concerns and history with him. Terra notes the masked boy as Vanitas and then joins Aqua in demanding that Vin return home, that he's on a dangerous task and it isn't safe for Vin. Aqua then interrogates Terra, stating that this task doesn't sound like what the Master told them. Terra, however, just shrugs it off, saying that it may be a different route, but he's fighting the darkness. Aqua then challenges his words, saying that she's seen what he's done in the worlds he's been, and states that he shouldn't put himself so close to the darkness. Just before Vin can defend Terra, Terra confirms her assumption, asking if Aqua has been spying on him, and if the Master told her to do so. Aqua tries to defend Ericus, but Terra leaves, saying that he's on his own now, and Vin really lays it on Aqua here.
You're awful, Aqua.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Aqua tells Vin that the Master had his worries, but they both know that he loves Terra. Then Vin asks Aqua if she was told to bring him home, to which her silence confirms. Vin then tells her that being a Keyblade Master has really gone to her head. He then runs off to find Terra again, leaving Aqua alone in her sorrow. But I don't think it was her going to her head at all. The truth is, Aqua just wanted to keep her friends safe, and she could feel their bond slipping as the days go by. After running off toward Vin, Aqua actually runs into the very same masked boy Vin has mentioned, Vanitas. Vanitas asks her if Vin has learned to put up a decent fight, but before she can question his intentions, Vanitas shouts that he is the one who will ask the questions as he summons a Keyblade, stating that he is the only one leaving here alive. Aqua draws her own blade and stands her ground to defeat the mysterious Vanitas. After the fight, Vanitas lay on the ground seeming defeated, but when Aqua goes to unmask him, he has a fit of laughter, showing that he is far from defeated. He stands up to leave through a dark portal, but before he goes, he says that she wasn't bad, and he'll keep her around, adding that it doesn't hurt to have a backup. Aqua tells herself that she has to stop him before he hurts Terra or Vin, but is cut off by Vin returning to her. Aqua asks if he found Terra, to which he says that he did, but that he's gone again. With that, Aqua says she must be off, and though Vin wants to go with her, she demands that he return home before venturing off, leaving Vin alone. But let's be honest, Vin was never good at following orders anyway. Aqua then finds herself in Olympus Coliseum, where she is immediately greeted by some Unversed. After taking them down with the help of a boy named Hercules, she finds out the boy and his trainer Phil actually know Terra. They say Terra came by not long ago and won something called the Games. Aqua says that she wants to find him, but they say that he's already gone, but offer her a spot in the game herself. Aqua kindly takes the offer and hope that by participating there might be a chance she could run into Terra. After making her way to just before the finals, Aqua notices that there's still no sign of Terra, as the opponent she's supposed to face is the guy named Zack. She is then immediately greeted by Zack, excited for the final himself because he believes that if he beats Aqua he will get to see Terra. Confused, Aqua asks about this match after the final. Phil explains that there are two different brackets currently going on in the games and that for all they know, Terra is over in the other bracket breezing through. The winner of the two brackets will fight in a championship, and though Aqua would rather be over in the other bracket finding Terra, Phil says that it's not allowed. Aqua reluctantly agrees to continue the games and agrees to fight Zack in the final. She then decides to ask Zack how he even knows Terra to begin with. Zack then gives her the story that in the last games, a man named Hades used a weird dark magic to corrupt him, and Terra was the one to step in and free Zack, and he didn't need the darkness to do it. Aqua is shocked by this, but the two continue on to finish their match. Aqua is victorious, but afterwards they are interrupted by Hades himself. Aqua calls out that he is the one who tried to cast Terra into darkness and gloats that Terra defied him. However, Hades reveals that Terra himself asked for advice to conquer the darkness, but got cold feet in the end. He then tries his hand at coercing Aqua, but she of course defies him, saying that the darkness doesn't interest her. Hades then reveals that it is him who she will face next, and disappears, and Zack begs her to avenge him and Terra, to which Aqua promises to do so. In the match, Aqua defeats Hades in a Titan of Ice, and Hades retreats in frustration. Zack and Aqua then leave the arena, and Zack wishes that it was him who got to fight Hades, but decides that since Aqua is champion, they have to celebrate. Pondering for a bit, Zack actually asks Aqua to go on one date with him. She's flattered and a little embarrassed, but says that she has to leave and still has so much training to do. Zack then asks if after he becomes a hero can they have that date, and Aqua just decides to leave him with that she can't make any promises. Zack takes this as a positive, however, and leaves Enjoy at the motivation to become a hero. And I'm begging you, Square, we already know Olympus has some role in Kingdom Hearts 4, bring Zack back, give him that date, the man deserves it, please! Anyway, so after Zack leaves, Aqua is joined by Hercules, who had happened to miss the match. He notices Aqua blushing from best boy Zack, but she just shrugs it off. She then offers Herc the advice that strength alone will not make him a hero. He confirms he knows this and that he notices something different in Aqua and Zack. Aqua states that he has true strength of heart, to never stop trying, and one day he might be a true hero after all. Quietly to herself, she also says the same about Terra, and Aqua moves to continue her journey. So Aqua next finds herself not within a world, but on a ship floating in hyperspace. With alarms blaring, she searches her surroundings to find that the Unversed have even infiltrated a place such as this, as she wonders to herself, is there any place that they haven't found? After dispatching the Unversed, she finds a mysterious wayfinder looking object lying on the ground. However, after picking it up, it is snatched by a weird blue creature. After disappearing, she is joined by a large alien named Gantu, looking for the blue creature named Experiment 626. So, okay, screw the storytelling, I'm calling him Stitch, guys, we all know it. So anyway, Gantu, searching for Stitch, asks Aqua if she saw him. She admits he fled to the ventilation system, but also thinks that he didn't really seem that vicious. Gantu begins to go after Stitch, but shortly realizes that Aqua also doesn't belong here and takes her into custody. Gantu takes Aqua to the Grand Councilwoman of the ship for questioning. When they arrive, however, the lady is more concerned with the Unversed and Stitch threat than a stowaway. Taking the opportunity, Aqua's wisdom gives her a great idea. She bargains with the councilwoman that she can help with the Unversed and that her weapon is the only effective way, to which Gantu reluctantly admits that their weapons have been unsuccessful. With that, the councilwoman thanks her and tasks Aqua with taking down the Unversed across the ship, as well as capturing Stitch and his creator, Dr. Jumba. As Aqua leaves, however, she can't help but wonder at the mysterious wayfinder Stitch had, and contemplates if Terra and Vin are here as well. With that, Aqua continues her task of taking down the Unversed, and while flying around the outside of the ship, finds the wayfinder Stitch made floating and retrieves it. She then runs into Stitch again, fighting some Unversed. She states to him that she has orders to take him in, but at the words of "Kara" from Stitch, she decides to try and talk to him instead, but are interrupted by a wave of Unversed. After the wave is defeated, she thanks Stitch again and asks what the creature is looking for, but Stitch just turns and runs off again. Aqua decides to return to the councilwoman to receive more orders and is told that Stitch and Jumbo were spotted in the launch deck. Aqua does ask her if Stitch is even all that dangerous, but is told that they just must assume so, and shrugs it off to continue finding him. When she reaches the launch deck, sure enough, they are there, and Aqua jumps down, ordering the two to stand down and be taken into custody. Stitch, though, notices his wayfinder in her hand and leaps at it, clearly joyed to have his possession returned. After noticing that the charm really is his, she asks Stitch where he got the shape from, to which Jumbo comes to answer. He tells Aqua that it was a copy of the good luck charm Terra had, and stated that Terra also said a friend gave him his charm and was very protective of it, to which Aqua can only smile at the thought of her friend keeping the charm that meant so much to her to make for them. Out of nowhere, Gantu fires a blaster shot, narrowly missing Stitch. Aqua reprimands him for the action, saying that they're bringing them in alive, but Gantu insists on his own methods. As he chases after Stitch, Aqua runs to defend the creature, and together they defeat Gantu. After the fight, they are interrupted by the councilwoman, who is very angry with Gantu for disobeying orders and sentences him to patrol duty. She also thanks Aqua and takes Jumba and Stitch into custody. Before they leave, however, Aqua does convince her to consider shortening Stitch's exile, telling her that as dangerous as he is showing his best that he's trying to make friends. She then proceeds to head off, but not before asking Stitch to be a part of her group of friends. Okay, going off script a little bit here, I had this whole section written out for Disney Town and Aqua, but literally nothing important to her character or story development or anything happens. So, to save some time, she plays some fruit ball, wins the Million Dreams Award, Pete gets cast into exile where Maleficent saves him, and then he becomes a henchman, and yeah, that's it. She moves on to Neverland. So, onto a more important world. When she arrives in Neverland, she picks up a treasure map that the two lost boys were finding. They seem upset and want the map from her, but a boy named Peter Pan flies down insisting that whoever finds the map gets to be the leader, and that's Aqua. Having more important things to do, Aqua tries to give up the map, but Peter insists that rules are rules and without her, the treasure hunt is off. With guilt at the boys' disappointment, Aqua reluctantly agrees to go on the treasure hunt with the boys. Along the way, they run into Captain Hook, a 2-bit pirate codfish according to Peter Pan. Hook demands Peter face him, but after Peter ignores him in favor of the treasure hunt, signals to his ship to fire the cannons at them. Being sitting ducks in the open, the 5 of them run off to safety and eventually run into a cliffside that they need to climb but see no way of doing so. Peter knows that his pixie friend can make them fly with some pixie dust, but the boys are scared of flying so high. Peter reprimands the boys for being cowards, and Aqua tries to defend them, asking if Peter is being a bit harsh. However, Peter shrugs her off and states that it is between them. With that, the boys agree to fly up and the rest follow them along the path to the treasure. They eventually find themselves back at where they started, and the boys get frustrated having run around Neverland for nothing. Peter, though, states that they accomplished a lot to get here, and that surely wasn't for nothing. Aqua admits that she had Peter all wrong, thinking that he was being cruel before, but now realizing that he was just being a good leader. They are then interrupted by Hooks again saying that he has the treasure, but when opening it finds all his gold and jewels have been replaced by junk. The boys and Peter know that it's their treasure, and when Hook asks where his went, they admit they lost it all. Hook begins to get hostile again, but at the sight of a crocodile he surely has history with, he runs off in a scared panic. The boys and Aqua then gather around the treasure, and Aqua notices a familiar wooden keyblade. When she asks what it is, Peter notes Vin left that there and promised that he would be back for it. Aqua realizes that Vin was here, but has a weird feeling and realizes that someone else is too, and runs off telling the boys to stay put. Aqua eventually runs into Vanitas yet again. He appears with the same wooden sword Aqua just had, breaking it in half and saying, "I think that boy has outgrown his toys, much like I've outgrown my use for you," raising his blade and initiating a duel with Aqua. Aqua comes out victorious again, however, but at the revelation of Vanitas finally defeated, passes out herself in exhaustion, relaxed that her friends can be safe from him now. When she wakes, it's the boys and Peter again concerned for her. Peter feels bad about Vin's sword, but Aqua knows that what binds them together isn't going to break that easily. That Vin knew that and figured that's why he left it behind. Peter knows they must be great friends, and before Aqua can leave, says that they should visit again sometimes, while Aqua says she would love that. While flying in the lanes between, Aqua wanders into a blinding flash of light that brings her to a world we viewers know all too well, Destiny Islands. Here, Aqua actually finds the star-shaped fruit that she had based her wayfinders off of. Seeing this, Aqua brings out her own wayfinder and hopes that her and her friends are ready for the storm that's coming. Her thoughts are interrupted by the sound of 2 young boys playing on the beach below. Aqua decides to inquire on the boys and takes notice that they both resemble spitting images of Terra and Vin, and thinks to herself that one of them might be special enough. She asks them their names as they introduce themselves as Sora and Riku, and in this, Aqua takes notice that someone has already passed on the power to Riku, speculating that it was actually Terra. With this, Aqua asks Sora a simple question: "Do you like Riku?" Sora only responds of course, and that Riku is his best friend. So Aqua asks Sora to take care of Riku in tough times and to always have his back. Even if he wanders down a dark path, it's Sora's job to bring him back. The boys look quizzical but nod, and Aqua pats their head in adoration. As the boys wander off, Aqua is left alone, and she stares at the sunset as we find out the power she meant was the power of the Keyblade. In that moment, Aqua had considered passing on the Keyblade to one of the boys, but noticing Terra had already done so with Riku, decided against it, as in her experience, one Keyblade was enough for any friendship. Traveling again in the lanes between, Aqua finds Mickey unconscious and after retrieving him hears his soft pleas for Master Yen Sid. Worried about her friend, Aqua rushes him off to said master. When she arrives, Mickey is watched over by his Royal Knight Goofy and Mage Donald. It's also here that Aqua is given the grave news that Master Ericus' star has blinked out, that her dear master was struck down. In utter shock, Aqua asks Yen Sid who was responsible, and to even more shock, she is informed that it was Master Xehanort and Terra. Aqua refuses to believe this revelation, and while he is doubtful, Yen Sid hopes that Aqua is right. She pleads for Terra's whereabouts and is told his heart is guiding him to the Keyblade Graveyard, an ancient battleground where a Keyblade war once took. Aqua turns to head out and find her friend, with the last warning from her former master: be on your guard. As she starts off, all she can hope is that her friends are safe, and that she has a way to get them out of this mess. Finding herself in the barren wasteland of the Keyblade Graveyard, Aqua looks out and summons her Keyblade. Realizing the horrors they are soon to surely face, she says to herself and out to her friends that the 3 of them will always be one, before going off to meet up with them. Arriving second, Terra was waiting for her. Trying not to accuse her friend of such an immoral act, she tells him that she was told the master was struck down. Shockingly, however, Terra actually admits that it was him who helped Xehanort do it, that the Master was trying to hurt Vin and Terra only wanted to protect him, but that Xehanort had set the whole thing up to awaken Terra's darkness. Terra then admits that the Master was right to distrust him and have him followed, that he went astray, but not anymore. Aqua isn't convinced though, and insinuates that Xehanort is feeding the dark fires within Terra, and because so, he will surely go astray again. She then asks him how that honors Ericus' memory, but before he can answer, they are interrupted by the arrival of Vin. Vin informs them that Xehanort intends for Vanitas and Vin to fight, so that the two of them can form some kind of keyblade. That's with the letter X, not key. Master Ericus had refused to let that happen and was actually the reason why he tried to destroy Vin. Aqua wonders about the X-Blade, but Vin isn't sure entirely on what it is, only that just the thought of it scares him to death. Terra and Aqua console him that they'll take care of him, but Vin begins to ask something dire of his two friends. He admits that he might have to fight Vanitas after all, and if that should come, but he's interrupted by Aqua and Terra, ensuring that no matter what, they won't let the three of them be torn apart. But Vin isn't looking for sympathy, and tells him that he's asking as a friend. Should that outcome arrive, put an end to him. They are shocked at his words, but before the conversation can continue, they find Xehanort approaching with Vanitas short behind. He proclaims that the keys that surround them belong to many fallen wielders, all in search of the ultimate key that he declares will soon be his, pointing at Vin and shouting, "Keyblade!" The three wielders all don their armor in preparation to fight, and Terra is the first to rush forward on the offensive. Before he can reach, however, Xehanort commands the earth and raises a pillar high above the battlefield. Here, he commands a swarm of the lifeless Keyblades to take action on the area. The swarm hits Vin first, then Terra, knocking him off the pillar before appearing from the ground beneath Aqua, knocking her off her rear end. Vin goes to check on Aqua, but resilient as ever, she shrugs it off to cast a protection spell on Terra, currently being bombarded by the swarm. Once Terra is safe, Vin goes on the offensive, slashing at Xehanort, but is countered and grabbed, helpless to break free as Terra is swarmed by the blades yet again. Aqua watches as Vin's body is cast completely in ice and dropped from the pillar, where she narrowly catches him just in time. As Aqua watches over Vin, completely frozen in ice, they are joined by an unknown man with an eye patch and golden eye. Ignoring Aqua's demand at his identity, he only declares that he is going to take them down so that Terra can succumb to the darkness. Aqua, again resilient as ever, tells him that he will never drive them apart with his mind games before standing to fight. After her victory, the man just says that he was only buying time before running off, and Aqua goes back to check on a still frozen Ventus. Unbeknownst to her, however, Vanitas himself drops from the pillar above, landing a direct blow on Aqua, knocking her unconscious. In her unconscious dreams, Aqua again hears the pleas of Vin to put an end to him, a dreadful foreshadow of what awaits her when she wakes. When she does so, Mickey is by her side and seeing her awake says that he's glad she's okay. In a daze, Aqua quickly recovers to check on Vin, finding him just ahead wielding the X-Blade itself. He's almost unconscious, and when Aqua tries to wake him, he flashes his eyes, revealing them to be bright gold, and goes to stab at her before Mickey intervenes, saving her. It had appeared that Vanitas joined hearts with Ventus and was in full control of his body. He declares that the X-Blade shall begin another Keyblade war. Aqua shouts for him to shut up and demands him to give Ventus his heart back before engaging in a final battle. Afterwards, Vanitas came out on top and slashed the X-Blade, sending the two flying back. Aqua sat exhausted and reaching a wayfinder calls out for her friends, her family, to give her strength. As if hearing her prayers, her wayfinder flashes and her Keyblade emits a bright glow. Realizing this is her last shot, she rushes forward and clashes the blade against the X-Blade. Although Vanitas was cocky, through sheer determination and the strength of her friends backing her, Aqua pushes forward and causes the X-Blade to break, where it flings out of Vanitas' hands and shatters in a powerful light. Just before it explodes, Aqua retrieves Vin's body, but not before the blast can cast them from the world itself. They lay unconscious, drifting in the lanes between, only protected by their armor but holding hands so that they don't drift apart from one another. It's Mickey who is the one to find them and bring them back to Yensid's. When she wakes, she is informed that they were unable to locate Terra. She then tries to wake a sleeping Vin, but when he doesn't budge, Yensid informs her that Ventus's heart is sleeping. She asks when Ventus will wake, but regrettably, Yensid informs her that it's as if his heart has disappeared altogether, and until it returns, he would likely sleep for all of eternity. Aqua, determined as always, declares she will keep him safe until he does finally awake, forever, if she has to. Yensid leaves her with one last advice, that the last thing Vin needs right now is protection. What he needs is for her to believe. Vin's heart is drifting in between light and darkness, and so long as she loves him, his heart will be able to follow the light back to himself. Mickey then chimes in and says that he will also believe in Vin, that if they both do, then Vin will have 2 lights to follow back home. Aqua chimes in that it's actually 3 lights, as she's sure Terra is also out there for him. Mickey of course knows that Terra is gone, maybe for good, but in denial of her friend's demise, Aqua admits that she thinks she has a way to find him. So before going off to find Terra, Aqua decides she has to find a safe place to keep Vin's body until his heart returns. She stands holding him outside the tower, and as if hearing her, Ven's body summons his Keyblade and opens a portal to their homeworld, where their journey began so long ago. When she appears on the other side, she immediately notices that the utter destruction their home had taken in the Battle of Ericus' demise. Looking ahead, she actually sees her master's Keyblade on the ground. As if it was left just for her, she picks it up. Thinking back to a conversation she had with her master so long ago, Aqua figures out a solution to where to store Ven. Ericus had informed her long ago that their home existed in between light and dark, and therefore could be a potential target should anyone come looking without him there to protect it. With this, he informed Aqua that their ancestors devised a little trick should they encounter this situation. He told her that should he ever fall and legions of darkness fall at their doorstep, that she'd take his Keyblade and use it to seal away this world. By doing so, anyone who should visit this world will be lost to oblivion, none able to solve the mystery. None except Aqua alone. So listening to her master's words, she does exactly this, and the world is transformed into a familiar place to us viewers as Castle Oblivion. Once the world is transformed, it's time for Aqua to go off and find Terra. Before leaving out, she reaches for Ven and tells him that she'll be back before you know it. But just as she's heading out, she hears Terra call to her to put an end to him the same as Ven did once before. At this, Aqua sets off to go save her friend. She finds herself back in Radiant Garden, where she sees Terra standing still, almost in a daze in the courtyard. She rushes to his side, but he looks a lot different, his head as pure as silver and eyes of bright gold. Calling for him, Terra responds by reaching out to Aqua, only to grab her by the throat and lift her. The man asks who he is as his body glows in a warm aura of darkness. Aqua can feel the darkness pouring out of him and tells Terra to fight it. Almost reacting to his true name, Terra holds his head in agony, only to look up and tell her that Terra's heart has been extinguished by the darkness within him, raising his Keyblade and striking at Aqua. Aqua jumps back, realizing how serious of a situation she's in. With this, almost fed up with every bad thing that's happened to them, Aqua is determined to save her friend. So she holds her hand above her heart and says,
My name is Master Aqua. Now return my friend's heart, or pay the price!
After the fight, Aqua is victorious. She watches as Terra's heart begins to glow within his body, fighting back against the darkness that corrupted him. Aqua calls once again for Terra to fight it, as he raises his Keyblade, stabbing himself, shouting for someone to get out of his heart. His darkness falls, creating a pool of darkness around him, and Terra, after that blow, falls backwards, sinking into it. Aqua runs forward as her friend sinks down and jumps in after him. Falling deeper and deeper into darkness, Aqua races after Terra and catches him. However, racing back towards the light, she realizes that the both of them won't be able to make it back before it closes. But then, she realizes, one of them can. She dissipates her armor and places her Keyblade in Terra's hand. With this, she is able to cast Terra back towards the light, saving her friend but dooming herself. As she falls slowly to her dark demise, Aqua can only call to Ven and apologize that she might not be back as soon as she thought, but promises that one day she will be there to wake him up. Aqua then finds herself in the realm of darkness. Although we don't know how long it's been, at this point that we see her, it's clear she has already been fighting in the dark for a very long time. As if on schedule, many dark forces surround her and she summons her master's Keyblade, now hers, ready to fight like she has already done so many times. However, this time is different, as Aqua can't bear to fight any longer. Surrounded by her own misery and despair, Aqua releases her Keyblade and stands ready to give up, wondering if she really should just fade into darkness here. Out of nowhere, two lights fly in and destroy one of the forces before her. They begin flying around, destroying the others and protecting Aqua. As Aqua looks, she can see it's her two close friends' Keyblades, or more specifically, the heart of Ven and Terra fighting beyond sleep and darkness to save her. With the forces gone, watching the lights fade away, Aqua can't help but smile. Caught back by this, she holds her hand over her mouth, realizing that it had been so long, she had almost forgotten how to smile. Holding up her wayfinder, Aqua remembers all those she's connected with. Ven, Terra, Ericus, Mickey, and all of those she made friends with along the way. She smiles and realizes that there's always a way. As long as those she loves are with her, she will always find her way back. After wandering for an unknown amount of time, due to the properties of time working differently in the realm of darkness, Aqua finds herself in front of a familiar scene. Before her, she sees the castle from the world she met Cinderella in. Realizing, as I just stated, that time doesn't exist the same here, Aqua concludes that she cannot be sure if it's been days or years, but is sure of one thing: something is going terribly wrong in the realm of light. Forging ahead to investigate the once bright world now fallen to darkness, Aqua fights off creatures of the dark realm known as Heartless. As she reaches the town, Aqua ponders how she took everything in life for granted and thought she didn't have anything to lose. As she remembers all those she left behind in the realm of light, grief begins to overcome her, showing how much the negativity of the realm of darkness can overwhelm a person. She can't afford to lose focus now, however, and shrugs it off to continue forward. As she makes her way out of the town and towards the castle now, the road beneath her begins to crumble and fall as the clock on the castle advances. She only barely makes it back to safe ground. She then proceeds back to town to find clock gears to return the clock to its original time and restore the road. Along the way, she sinks in the once happy memories of the Realm of Light with her friends, and after restoring the road, notes that even memories are not safe from the darkness. Once she reaches the castle stairs, she just wishes that she really could turn back time, wondering what she wouldn't give to spend one more night beneath those stars with her friends, only to stop herself knowing she's only making it worse on her. She's shocked, however, at Terra walking down the steps before her. She can't begin to believe her eyes as she asks him what happened, that he should be safe in the Realm of Light, and wonders if he ever made it out at all. She has so many questions with no answers, and when she asks him why he won't answer, reaching out for his hand, hers only fades through his. Aqua realizes he's only but a memory amongst shadows, here to keep her from losing heart as the terror before her fades away, and she continues ahead with her head low in despair once again. Before she leaves, however, she turns to look at the town once more, and with a smile takes solace in the fact that not seeing the townspeople means they haven't felt the darkness too. She next finds herself in another world lost to darkness, this time being the world she once met the 7 dwarves and Snow White. As she arrives, she notices a coffin ahead similar to Snow White's once was, but this time, laying in the coffin, was a sleeping Ven. Aqua sprints forward and calls his name, but he too fades almost immediately, proving to be just another memory conjured by the darkness to consume her. Aqua wonders what the memory came to tell her and tells Ven back that she's sorry she can't wake him up, but she needs to find a way out of here first. She also tells Ven that she wants him to know that it's been him keeping her heart strong and the darkness away, determined to keep her promise and be there when he wakes up. Turning around, she notices a mirror, and when reaching forward, is pulled into the mirror itself. Trapped in the mirror prison, she investigates the other mirrors she saw fly in, along the way at each point having to fight mirrored versions of her very self. As she reaches the last mirror, she ponders if this is what it means to face her own demons. The mirrored version of herself reaches forward, summoning their Keyblade, and tells her that only her heart is strong enough to be a demon's. Aqua defies, however, shouting,
That's not true. My heart is strong. I'll prove it.
and battles to defeat the dark version conjured of herself. Aqua wondered what Terra, Ven, and now her own phantom had to mean, but can only come to the conclusion that Terra and Ven had nothing to say, but her shadow wanted to destroy her. Aqua goes to leave this prison she finds herself in, and thinks about how she never thought that she would become her worst enemy. She realizes she's talked to herself a lot since she fell here, but with the phantom it's as if all her doubts gained a voice of her own, producing a phantom of all the weakness inside her heart. Aqua can only fear that the darkness has finally found itself into the cracks in her heart, and wonders if this is the last apparition before it takes her over. Finding herself next in Enchanted Dominion, the world she met Maleficent in, she is immediately greeted by another apparition of Terra and Ven. Chasing after them, Aqua wonders if they're actually here this time, but concludes that she doesn't care either way, she just misses them. She fights her way through dark thorns sprouted to stop her, and large heartless known as dark sides before making it to an immeasurable swarm of them. Standing ground, she defeats the heartless around her, but falls down in exhaustion. After recovering herself, she makes her way forward again, finally catching up with the phantoms of her friends. This time, however, it appears Terra can actually hear her. Terra seems shocked to be seen, but also seems unable to see Ven next to him. Aqua wonders why Terra can't see Ven, but he asks her next where they are. Aqua tells him that it's one of the worlds fell to darkness, and Terra is confused, not knowing anything about the world's falling. Aqua begins to doubt this is even Terra, and wonders if he's not just another weakness in her heart playing more tricks. She then begs for Ven to say something to no avail before Terra promises that it really is him, but he's not himself. He tells her that if she's calling him by that name, it means she's seeing him how she remembers him, but in truth his heart is lost in shadow. She figures this means he's trapped here in the realm of darkness with her, but admits this is not it, only that his heart is tied to the dark, and that's why they can talk, but he can't see anything like she can. She asks if that means him and Ven are safe in the outside world, and after Terra says that he thinks so, she asks how he found her. He declares that he heard her in the darkness. Aqua still has so many questions, but Terra says to forget about him and says that Xehanort is looking for Ven. She informs Terra that she hid Ven well, and that she thinks he can't speak to her here because he's still sleeping. She then hears in a different voice asking if this place Ven hides is the Chamber of Waking, and she says yes, only to turn and realize that it's not Terra speaking anymore. She sees an eerily similar figure to the Terra she fought in Radiant Garden, and asking who he is, he begins to tell her before a ghost of Terra spawns and locks the man in a hold. Terra explains that he messed up and now Xehanort is a part of him, before Xehanort's darkness envelops them. Last thing she sees being Terra fighting off his darkness. She begins to fade into darkness and finds almost solace in the fact that it can all be over now if she just falls. However, she is saved by none other than Mickey. Before they can talk though, a heartless swarm spawns and the two take it down together. After the fight, she asks Mickey if he's seen Terra or Ven, but he admits that he hasn't, just her. Afterwards, he states that he never expected to find her here, and tells her they've been looking for her for a long time before asking what happened to her. She first asks how long it's been in the Realm of Light, and Mickey tells her that it's been 10 years. Almost expecting an answer like such, Aqua just says interesting and then tells Mickey of how after she hid Vin, she went to find Terra but ended up sacrificing herself to give him a chance. Aqua then asks Mickey about him, wondering how he got here and what's been going on. Mickey informs her about how the Heartless have been devouring worlds, but if they lock the door between the realm of darkness and light, they can stop it. That's why he's here, to find the key on this side. He also tells her how when he got here, he felt a warm familiar light noting at her wayfinder and followed it to find his way to her, and Aqua realizes at this that Terra and Vin were helping her, bringing Mickey and Aqua together again. She does ask Mickey if Terra is in the realm of light, but Mickey admits that they still haven't found him. She isn't worried, however, as she's confident he's fighting his darkness and will beat it someday. Meanwhile, she knows Vin won't wake up without her help and says she must get back to the realm of light. Mickey then says they should team up and go home together. Aqua asks if this means he knows a way out, but sadly he admits that he was so busy finding a way in that he was a bit reckless and didn't concern himself with the way out. He just says that he's sure the two together can find one, and Aqua just laughs, realizing that her friend hasn't changed one bit. Finding their way to the Destiny Islands, Aqua immediately noticed it as the place she met those two boys. Mickey asks if she knows this place, and she tells him how she met two boys she considered passing the Keyblade onto, but because Terra had already done to one of them, she didn't. Mickey, shocked at this, asks for the boys' names, and Aqua tells him Sora and Riku. Mickey can tell they're getting close and tells Aqua it's Sora and Riku that have actually been helping him. He says that if this place is where they got their Keyblade, then its counterpart, the Keyblade of Darkness to seal the other side of the door, must be here. They rush to find the Keyblade but are attacked by a swarm of Heartless much bigger than anything they had faced before. In an intense battle, Mickey and Aqua team up and defeat the swarm before moving on to find the key. Pushing into the secret place of Destiny Islands, a cave with a weird door with no handles, they push past the door to find the key Mickey was searching for. He then says with this blade they can finally seal the door. Mickey knows that the door won't let a heart of light seep through, and that's why only darkness keeps spilling out. With this, it's time to seal the door, but they need help on both sides to keep the door shut. Aqua offers her chance to help at this, but Mickey knows that that job is already taken. After this, they make their way to the door of Kingdom Hearts. Or, more technically, the smaller version, not the real one. Look, this part of the lore is weird, guys. All you need to know is that this door needed to be closed to save the worlds, and with Mickey's and Sora's blades, they can do just that. After seeing Riku running up ahead, they realize it's time and begin to run forward to seal the door. Unfortunately, they are yet again attacked by a dark swarm, and Aqua is forced to keep them at bay to prevent them from interrupting Mickey, Riku, and Sora. Sadly, the swarm overwhelms her and casts her away back deeper in the realm of darkness, separating herself from Mickey. Aqua is stuck once again, but the battle for the realm of light is not won. She dedicates herself to facing the long darkness. The next time someone wanders into the realm of light, she will be here. A light to cut through all the shadows. She will be their wayfinder, and one day, she will return to Terra and Vin. Laying on the beach, the world begins to fade, showing it's restoring to light. Aqua smiles at the fact that they succeeded, but still falls slowly back to darkness. The last thing she says, looking up at the night sky, remembering the stars she once shared and longs to see again with her friends.
May our hearts be our guiding key. You'll know where I am.
Aqua next finds herself on a dark shore, clearly deep within the realm of darkness. Here she finds a man in a black coat and asks who he is, but he only says hello and that he doesn't often get visitors. She introduces herself as Aqua and asks what happened to him. He tells her it's his second time here, but much like the first, he doesn't remember who he is or whence he came. Aqua notes herself she's been wandering for endless hours, trying to escape, and when the man asks if she wishes to return to her world, she can only nod. She tells him it's her friends, that she promised that she'd be there for them. The man notes at this that she reminds him of a boy he once knew, true to his friends and kind, traveling to many worlds to keep the light safe, that at every turn the boy arrived, keyblade in hand, to save the day. Hearing this, Aqua asks if the boy is named Terra or Vin, but the man admits neither, and Aqua is disappointed for what seems the millionth time since she arrived here. The hooded figure had admitted that he had caused so much turmoil and had hoped the boy could set things right. A boy who has touched so many hearts can open the right door and save all the lives the man managed to ruin. Aqua asks for this boy's name, and at hearing so can only shed a tear. She looks out at the dark shore with a smile on her face and can only say one thing, realizing that the little boy she met so long ago, determined to keep his best friend safe like she made him promise, had really made a difference.
Sora.
The man asks Aqua if she would stay here, but she tells him she can't shake the feeling that the waters here touch the shores of another. When the man claims the Destiny Islands, Aqua realizes her connection could be real, and decides to stay in case someone comes to find her. While they wait together for who knows how long, they are eventually joined by another man in a similar black coat. The two converse, clearly knowing each other before the man Aqua has been with lowers his hood, revealing to us viewers his identity as Ansem the Wise, although it's not like the voice wasn't obvious enough. The adversary attempts to kidnap Ansem after not getting the information he was asking for, but Aqua steps in to defend her new friend. Realizing her as a lost guardian of light, he tells her to wait for the king and his fools and conjures his darkness to knock her back. Aqua is unable to fight back properly, as along the way she actually lost her Keyblade, getting left on the Destiny Islands when they return to light. However, when asked where it is, she confidently shrugs it off, saying she doesn't need it before advancing again. Catching her, Ansem begs for no more and pleads that he will go with him. Aqua, however, resilient as ever, still fights back, before eventually the adversary throws her offshore with a dark blast, casting Aqua deeper into darkness than she had ever been before. Finally overcome with darkness, Aqua finds herself later again on the shore, with King Mickey and Riku, who after all this time had come to rescue her. However, it was much too late, as Aqua's heart was corrupted by darkness and she had finally given in to her misery. Having Mickey trapped and Riku on his knees, she emerges from the darkness picking up the Keyblade Mickey dropped. Mickey realizing this is Aqua, she turns to tell him that he's too late. She tells him how she found her way to the shore with no means of fighting her way back. Without her Keyblade, she waited for someone to come and find her, but no one did. She asks him if they have any idea how lonely it's been, how frightened her heart was, before declaring that all that's left in her heart is misery and despair, before turning on them, saying that now they can share it. Riku stands, summoning his Keyblade and preparing to fight her and save Mickey, but unfortunately for him, Aqua was much too powerful. That is, until he is joined by none other than Sora, who comes down and teams up with Riku to slash away at the darkness imprisoning Mickey. Riku rushes to Mickey's aid, but Aqua isn't done yet as she charges forward, almost landing a devastating blow on Riku before Sora stepped in again to block her attack. Sora engages her in a battle to defeat the darkness in her, and after he is victorious, she falls into darkness once again, the last thing she sees and hears being Sora's hand calling her name. Aqua then wakes up on the shores of Destiny Islands. She thinks she sees Terra and Vin standing over her, however when her vision comes to fully, she notices it's actually Riku and Sora. Also noticing Mickey, Donald, and Goofy, she realizes she's on the shores of Destiny Islands. Aqua can only ask when the islands fell to darkness, clearly not realizing or even being able to comprehend that she finally made it out of the realm of darkness. It's at Riku's revelation that she finds out she's actually in the realm of light. Aqua, who had spent so long in darkness, so long in misery and despair, can now only look at the sun, feel the light warm her skin, and really see that she has finally gotten out. After over 10 long years, Aqua is finally home.
You are home! Welcome home! We did it!
Wasting no time at all, she decides it's time to keep her promise and takes Sora, Donald, and Goofy to go wake Ventus. When they arrive at Castle Oblivion, the guys offer to let her rest a little longer after all she's been through, but adamant as ever, Aqua insists on keeping her promise. Standing at the doors, Aqua uses her master's Keyblade recovered on the islands to return the world to its proper form, the land of departure. Once the world is back to normal, the gang travel inside to retrieve the slumbering Ven. When Aqua tries to wake him, he stays asleep to no avail, and Aqua wonders if his heart never made its way home. They are interrupted, however, by the appearance of Vanitas himself, who has come to take Ventus. Aqua advances on Vanitas to protect her friend and is blown back. Realizing she's still not at full strength, Sora offers to handle it for Aqua, but she refuses, being the determined badass girl we all know and love, summoning a shield to block everyone out and protect Ven herself. She actually handles herself really well, having the upper hand on Vanitas for the most part. It's only when Vanitas takes a shot at Ven, cracking the barrier, that Aqua jumps in to take the blast and protect Ven. Vanitas moves forward over an unconscious Aqua and begins to take her out for good. Unknown to Aqua, however, Ven's heart actually rested within Sora, and at the calls to save her, finally returned to his body, and Ventus came in striking Vanitas to save Aqua. Vanitas then leaves, realizing he's outmatched, and Ventus helps Aqua stand. Sora is concerned for her, but she declares that she's alright. After a touching greeting between Sora and Ven, Aqua only has one thing to say to her old friend.
Good morning, Ven.
Later on, Aqua and the rest of the Guardians of Light gather to fight the darkness while she's been gone, stand together at Yensid's tower. To summarize some background events, Xehanort had returned to full form and planned to create the X-Blade again in its true form, to control Kingdom Hearts, the true Kingdom Hearts. To do this, he needed to clash 7 lights and 13 darknesses, and while the gang had gathered their 7 lights, Xehanort split his heart amongst 13 familiar foes to make his darknesses. With the inevitable final battle ahead, it was time to prepare. Yensid welcomes Aqua back in loving arms, and Aqua expresses her gratitude for rescuing her. They apologize for not finding Terra, but Aqua admits that responsibility to herself. Riku also apologizes for not being able to save her the last time, but she assures him he did not let her down, and congratulates him at hearing that he had become a true Keyblade master. After being introduced to the 2 new Keyblade wielders, Aqua realizes the red-headed girl with them is actually Kairi, the young girl she had saved so very long ago. Kairi admits she doesn't remember those days all too well, but thanks Aqua anyway at the mention of her protection. Aqua can only reassure her that she understands why someone so young wouldn't remember. Okay, this section is a lot of touching reunions, and those are the more important ones to Aqua herself, but to save some time, basically they all make a plan and decide to head off to the Keyblade graveyard in hopes of finding the rest of the missing members along the way. Resting up the night before the fated day, her and Ventus take a walk outside and stare up at the sky, reminiscing on how they've been so long without a night under the stars. After sharing that they've been through so much, they hold their wayfinder to the sky and make a pact to tell each other all about them once Terra is back. Arriving at the Keyblade graveyard, they are immediately greeted by Xehanort and members of his 13 Darknesses. They tell off the Guardians, promising the victory of darkness on this fated day, before summoning a massive swarm of dark enemies. One after the other, thousands upon thousands of heartless, nobodies, and unversed appear to take on the Guardians, forcing them to split up, Aqua and Vin taking up their own stand together. Eventually, they defeat the forces and forge ahead. Reaching up ahead, they find an ominous welcome from an old friend. It's Terra standing in the middle of the wasteland looking almost in a trance. Vin is the first to race forward, Aqua trailing behind. However, taking a good look at him, Aqua finds the scene all too familiar to her. Aqua accuses the Terra of being a fake, as he smirks and begins to sprout gray hair and regain those golden eyes that so haunt her. It's at this that Aqua's biggest fear had came to fruition. Terra had become one of Xehanort's Darknesses. Terra then advances on the group, attacking Vin first, moving on one by one before Donald performs a spell to destroy him at the cost of his life. Left standing is Aqua, Sora, Riku, Mickey, and Goofy. Aqua goes to check on Vin, but the situation only grows worse as a massive heartless swarm spawns to take them on. Aqua stands to join Riku and Sora to defend what they have left, but it's almost as if the heartless sense their perseverance, and more join the horde, creating a storm of darkness before them. Although she tries to stay strong, Aqua's heart was still recovering from the mental toll it took in the realm of darkness. As she looks at the swarm, all she can seem to see is her dark self taken over once again. Unable to find the strength to fight, the swarm advances on Aqua, taking her and shortly after the rest of the gang with them. And so, as foretold on that day, darkness prevailed and light expired. Okay, so, I also mentioned this in Riku's timeline, but this next part will be heavily more explained in Sora and Kairi's timeline, as it's not too important specifically to Aqua, but for your convenience I'll do my best to summarize it all. Basically, Sora's heart barely survived, and he used something called the Power of Waking to find all the hearts of his friends that were consumed by the darkness, following Kairi's heart as a guide. Eventually, Sora was able to restore everyone, and they all returned to a point in time just before they were consumed. Yes, that's right, time meaning time travel. Listen, I could be here for another hour on that. Okay, so, after all that shabacle, the gang advances again to find Terra just as they did before. The scene almost plays out the same as Terra advances on Ventus again, but this time he is blocked by Lingering Will, the lingering force of Terra left in his armor to wait to take on revenge on Xehanort. Lingering Will takes Terranort off to fight, leaving the Guardians with one less obstacle. Although, as if they can never catch a break, which, let's be honest, they can't, they are swarmed again by the forces of darkness. However, this time, Sora was able to take them all down with a little help from the light of the past. No breaks as usual, they are again joined by another darkness, a dark, corrupted version of a younger Riku. They are also joined by the same eye-patch man Aqua faced so long ago, who now goes by the name Xigbar and is also one of the 13 Darknesses. Xigbar explains they have to be tested as to not be blundering their way to a second failure, and leaves the Dark Riku to take them on as yet again they are swarmed by darkness. This time, they are actually saved by none other than Yensid himself. He comes down in a blazing light and pushes the dark forces back, opening a path for the Guardians to move on ahead. With some slight hesitation at Yensid's safety, the gang reluctantly leaves him behind to advance on the rest of Xehanort. Meeting up with Xehanort and his 12 other selves, he commences the final showdown, officially starting the Keyblade War to forge the X-Blade. The gang then commits Operation Scooby-Doo and split up to take down the 13 Darknesses, where Aqua and Vin come against none other than Vanitas and Terranort. Meeting up with the two adversaries, Vin once again calls out to Terra. Although Aqua tries to remind him that Terra isn't there, Vin insists on keeping his promise and bringing Terra home. Vanitas plays his own little mind games, insinuating that no matter what happens to him, he'll just disappear back into Vanitas. Terranort jumps in, offering that he has more than enough darkness to go around, while Aqua raises her blade at him, demanding he stop using their friend for his games. Aqua looks him in the eye, telling him that they have unfinished business, that after over 10 long years in the realm of darkness, she's finally here and she wants only one thing with all her heart.
Xehanort, I'm casting you out of Terra forever!
The battle commences where they struggle to gain the upper hand until Sora comes to aid them. With his help, they first take down Vanitas and then Terranort shortly after. Aqua and Vin quickly rush to their friend's side in hopes that he might now come back to them. As Terra struggles to overcome the darkness, it takes over yet again and lashes out at the three of them, insisting that they will never be able to break their chains. Flinging them around and eventually knocking Aqua and Vin unconscious, all hope seemed to lost as he raised their bodies and dropped them to their demise. What surprised them was Xehanort's Dark Guardian that always accompanied him, breaking free of Terranort and catching Vin and Aqua, saving them. Breaking the chains that hold them, the Guardian rushes back and takes hold of Terranort. Holding him hostage, the Guardian breaks free of his bonds and shouts in Terra's voice that he would one day return here to protect his friends, all revealing that the Dark Guardian was the remnants of Terra's heart all along. At this, Sora blasts Terranort with light while Terra's heart breaks free of his darkness and takes back control of his own body. Returning to his true form, Terra rushes to Aqua and Vin's side, and Aqua can only wonder if it's really him. He promises so, saying that she never stopped lighting his way back, bringing Aqua to tears at the sight of her best friend's safe. The three embrace and break down in tears, happy to have each other all back together again. Later on, after taking a much needed rest, they catch up with Sora, who had continued on against the fight. Unfortunately, Xehanort had achieved his goal in summoning Kingdom Hearts and the X-Blade, and in the process cost Kairi her life. Being the only Keyblade masters there, Mickey asks Riku and Aqua to help them cast Xehanort out of this world. Aqua steps forward, ready to take the responsibility, but Sora interrupts, insisting that he go instead, while everyone else keep Kingdom Hearts at bay. Reluctantly, they all agree, and together they open up a portal for Sora, Donald, and Goofy to go and defeat Xehanort. Eventually, once the battle is done and Xehanort is defeated, Aqua and the rest of the Guardians journey forward to meet Sora. To their shock, Xehanort, clearly already defeated, refused to accept it. Terra steps forward, and as Aqua tries to stop him, she lets him go, seeing he has something planned. Surprisingly to all of them, Master Ericus had emerged from Terra's heart, where he had left a bit of himself behind when he passed. The Ericus that stands before them convinces Xehanort to give up and accept defeat, welcoming death in open arms with his old friend. Before they can pass on, Aqua, Vin, and Terra embrace their master, no, their father, one last time. He apologizes to Aqua for leaving her with such a heavy burden, but she can only cry in his arms, just happy to have one last moment with him. Ericus leaves Terra in charge of taking after them, and the trio, finally all united together again, say goodbye to the master they cherished for the final time. Together, they all stand and close Kingdom Hearts for good. Afterwards, Aqua returned home with their friends, where they buried their master's blade in memory of him, putting him to rest and finally getting back to the happy life under the stars they so dreamed of. Okay, so I also said this before, but the entirety of Remind is more important to Sora and Kairi's story. This video is already long enough, so I won't go in depth here, but let me give you a brief summarization to continue the story. Sora used the power of waking to travel in time again and traverse the hearts of his friends to find the key at locating Kairi. On his journey to do so, Sora was able to recover her, and he and her joined the rest of the Guardians at the Destiny Islands to hang out together after all their hard times. As they all stand on the beach, they notice Kairi and Sora on the tree alone together. To their horror, Sora begins to fade, nowhere to be found, as the power of waking proved to be a price too much to bear for his body to survive. The last we see of Aqua, she, Vin, and Terra decided to journey into the realm of darkness together in hopes of finding out just what happened to Sora and how they could save him. Riku does make sure to check on her, worried that the journeying back to the Dark Realm could be dangerous for her. However, she assures him that she's not alone this time and therefore is not afraid. They don their armor and band their Keyblades together, opening up a portal. This is the last time we see Aqua in the series, as she would spend the next year searching to no avail. However, once Riku and Kairi really figure out Sora's whereabouts, we get a glimpse at Aqua's next journey in the series. As with Riku off to go save Sora, it's up to Aqua to train Kairi in the ways of a true Keyblade master. You know, these timeline videos really do take a long time to make. However, getting to journey again through this series I love so much, but through the eyes of an individual, really helps me get deeper meaning of the messages each person's story is meant to tell us. Aqua from the beginning was determined and hard-driven, but never knew of the dangers she would once face. She absolutely has the hardest journey out of any one of our heroes in this universe. She lost everything she ever loved and was forced into a realm the equivalent of hell for 10 years while no one knew where she was, and even when they did find out, they still couldn't save her just yet. Despite all that, she stayed strong. Aqua is my favorite female in the KH series for the sheer fact that she's not a damsel in distress. She's not a pushover. She's one of the most fierce, brave, and hard-going people I've ever seen in fiction in general, and she deserves all the love. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and recapping the story of Aqua with me. I had so much fun with this one, and please let me know who else you would like to see in the series, as there is so much more story to be told. Hopefully we get everyone a chance, but until then, I want to thank you guys once again. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as that greatly helps me grow as a creator, and give me feedback on how I can improve as one as well. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, night, or whenever you might be, and I will see you in the next one. Get jiggy and stay awesome.